Hey everybody, it's me, DeoGenZ, and it's time to play some more Analogue, a hate story. In the last episode, we left off speaking to Hyune, talking about a block of logs that is not accessible to us, not accessible to her rather, without our help of decryption. So let's enter super user mode by typing in SU. The admin password. Huh. Damn, we were just asked in the previous episode what do we really care about, and I said her. I mean, it's the truth, but she also offered to give us the password, and now I don't know it. Alright, if I was a password... Well, she's been posing as the log keeper for so long. Let's just try her name and see what happens. Excellent. Data corruption in Core 1. What could be there? Is it Space Core? Yeah, right. I doubt that such a cheery adversary would be in this game, even as a cameo. Even though we are technically in space right now, we are deep in the text files of the Magungwa. And there's really nothing too hilarious in here that I can find so far that would be appropriate for Space Core to be a part of. Huh. Well, I'll be damned. There's another AI program available. Mute. Well then. Before we investigate what this mute AI is like, let's go ahead and decrypt block 3 like Hyune requested. I am quite curious as to what is so steamy and important about blocking out pesky viewers, pesky hackware software of any sort in these particular logs. Oh, hello again. So, were you able to decrypt that block? Oh, let me take a look at it then. Oh, wow. No wonder that was encrypted and blocked off from AI access. I wouldn't have wanted that nosy security AI to read some of these. Oh my, this is dramatic. I'm not sure if you're interested, but I've given you a couple of entries from there to see for yourself. But if you don't care, that's perfectly fine. I'm sure I can find something else that you're interested in. Oh no, I'm interested. If you say that this is some dramatic thing that was purposefully blocked off because it's too embarrassing for others to see, then we have to read it. Anything to make the LP even more interesting. Brought Home by Oso Jin. These past few months have left me so very anxious with anticipation. Nearly a year has passed since the wedding ceremony, and before this week, Sang Min had only visited my family once, promising he would bring me home with him for sure the next time. I know I'm supposed to be enjoying living with my parents while it lasts, but all I can think about is my husband. How is a new bride expected to have such patience? For nearly a year, a day hasn't gone by where I haven't thought of how beautiful he thought me in my wedding dress, or how it felt spending that night held so gently in his strong hands, looking forward to the day where I could live in his house. I can't help but feel as anxious in my heart as I am excited in my hips. I know it's ungraceful to think of such things, but how can I help myself? In any event, he arrived yesterday to take me with him to his ancestral shrine, and then finally his home. Such luxury I've never seen in my life. A servant to prepare meals, entirely separate women's quarters, and a dining room with a window that shows the stars. My family was hardly all that poor, but a window to the stars? How amazing a sight. I knew that I was lucky to have been married into a noble family, but I never realized just how lucky. I wonder if I'll have time to write as much as I used to. Oh, but I must stop for tonight now. I can hear my husband coming. I've been looking forward to this night for so long now. How I hope I can make him happy. Just hearing his footsteps outside the door makes my heart pound. So I'm going to pull a parallel here that I can see pretty plainly in American marriage culture that is similar here with the Magungwa. The whole matrimony ceremony is heavily hyped up in American culture. It's almost bigger than the entire entire ceremony itself for what it really stands for. The facade, the show, the music, and all the dresses and gowns, cakes and friends gathering is larger than the actual relationship at times it seems to be. And there is definitely a pressure for people in American society to at some point, quote unquote, settle down. I mean, the fact that we have a term, settle down, as if anything else, even if it was adventures, was seen as frivolous. But this term, settle down, to indicate that, oh, you need to be stable and steady with having a husband and wife. And still there are pockets of society in America, mainly religious ones, very high-strung religious ones, not to say religion's a bad thing, but there are extremists on all fields who think that marriage can't be anything but a man and a woman. And once this relationship is had, it's mostly seen in American culture that the man is the dominant one, and it's clearly seen in the paycheck. Otherwise, men still wouldn't be getting paid more than women. Say, I just had a thought. It's a little bit silly to keep up this whole pretense with the schoolgirl librarian look, don't you think? Yeah. Well, I was just thinking, you know, I've always been into cosplay. I've actually designed a bunch of other outfits too. I'm not sure. I'm not there. Now that I'm saying this, I guess it's a little bit awkward. But would you like to see? Ah, well, very well. You can use the change outfit command to dress me up if you want. Jeez, I'm sorry I'm making this really awkward. It's just that I have a couple that I think are really cute, and you might want to see them. Please, don't read into it or anything. It's not like I'm trying to please you or anything. It's just, I think it might be fun, that's all. Anyway, you don't have to do it if you don't want to. But it's change outfit if you're really interested. Sorry, it is a really weird thing to ask now that I think about it. Jeez, what am I saying? I just thought maybe you might be interested in that. As a matter of fact, I am. I cannot resist cute girls in cosplay. It is a weakness of mine. But before we dress you up, let's show you the message. So, you're interested in the Smiths then? Oh, very well. This is pretty much all new to me, actually. I know you've already read one other log by her. It looks like she actually wrote a lot. I had no idea. So, just out of curiosity, what do you make of her as a new bride? Yeah, I think so too. It's really cute. It sadly doesn't really seem to last. It looks like her marriage was, well, oh jeez, it's not quite as bad as mine was, but I really don't envy her, poor woman. Well, if you're interested in learning more, I've just put together a family tree of the Smith family, which should help you keep track of them all. I'm less certain about this one, since, you know, not my family and all. Anyway, I've given you a family tree, and you should just go ahead and show me who you'd like to hear more about. We can go over the logs together. Excellent, so the family tree of the Smiths. Alright, well, tell you the truth, guys, I never found the family trees to be too helpful, just because it's hard for me to remember all these Korean names. It's easier for me to understand now that I've already played the game once, but it doesn't play a huge role in understanding the game overall. Now we can still show her this message, so yeah, I'll cut to the, I was going to say the interesting part, but that's kind of awful, isn't it? I mean, given we're talking about a real person's life here, jeez, this is a bit uncomfortable. The poor girl goes from being cute and excited to, well, what I mean is, she got jaded really quickly. Her family situation sounds like a really awkward arrangement. I'll show you what I mean. Let me know what you think after you've read that. Okay, so we're going to get a bit more insight onto Oh-So-Jin. But before we do, I just would like very much to dress up Hayune. It's an otaku's weakness, what can I say? Truthfully, I would be, change outfit? I would too do cosplay if it weren't for the fact that I'm not a seamstress, and most of the cosplay I want to do is Gundam Metal Machines or Metroid Samus's metal armor. I never once wanted to be Zero Suit Samus, but I do admire her Chozo power armor very much. I actually made an arm cannon a couple of times, different arm cannons, different models of the arm cannon. So now Hayune is dressed up as a maid, which, kind of a questionable costume, I must say. Weird thing for her to dress up as, since most of this story consists of how the atrocities of man having his thumb over women, and she says this right off the bat. It just seems a little bit contradictory to the story. That's all I'm saying. She could have had some better cosplay to choose from. Maybe a samurai. I don't know. Just a thought. Welcome back, Master! What may I do for you? So, you did decide to, after all. I'm really excited. Well, tell me, what do you think? Oh, it's adorable. Oh, really? Thank you. I'm happy to hear you like it. I mean, I already know what I'm good... Why'd that go so fast? Oh, jeez, what am I even saying? I just think it's fun dressing up like this, and I'm happy you agree with me. I've dressed up for others before, but never anyone I really liked. It's a really different feeling. It's, how do you put this? Well, even if you think I look cute, I'm sure you think this is at least a little bit embarrassing, right? Oh. Well, I think it is. That's the fun of it, isn't it? Putting yourself in that sort of position by choice because you really are... No, I still don't know how to say it. Jeez, I'm just going to stop now before I make myself an even bigger mess. That would be ironic for a maid, wouldn't it? Well, shall we get back to more serious stuff? I'd be happy, rather, to help you with whatever you like. So, despite the contradictory nature of a maid who services the overbearing patriarchal master, I do believe that this is an adorable cosplay outfit. And if there are any cosplayers that watch my channel, let me know why you cosplay. I personally cosplay if I could, that is. I don't, never had the chance, but I would have cosplayed if I knew something about sewing and all these things, to embody the character of some of my favorite anime, you know, of some of my favorite heroes. I would like to cosplay to just kind of feel what it's like to walk in their shoes, but that's my reasons. What's yours? Laughable situation from Jin. I cannot believe just 2 years ago I was actually excited about moving into the Smith home with my husband. Oh, how shortly that lasted. I find it funny. The first time I realized that I would have to compete for his affections with every common woman and every courtesan he came across, I was so shocked. The first time he brought one home, I cried for a week, and mother-in-law was furious with me, claiming it my fault for not being enough for him. Now I realize the insanity of her reasoning, as if she wouldn't have already known her son was simply that sort of man. The only person who had any right to be shocked was me. Still, I struggle for his attention, but now it is all but banal. If the truth is to be told, this is something I would tell not my mother, not mother-in-law, nor Mute. Oh, there's that Mute person again, Mute AI. Nor least of all my husband. I do not even fight for his affections for his own sake. It is pure selfishness on my part. All I wish is for some indicator that it isn't as though I'm unattractive, that it isn't as though I'm unlikable. Any affection he gets is simply an attempt at fishing that affirmation out of him, and nothing more. Yeah, so it automatically jumps to the women's responsibility if their man cheats. I guess the thought is that they're not putting out enough. That's, you know, looking at women as broodmares. Again, not saying that America is that kind of culture, but there are definitely hints and tinges of that sort of air about. Daughter, from Osojin. For the past 2 months, ever since it became impossible to hide that she was with child, Jaganmi has been living in our house, and no visitors have been allowed to come in. It has created an incredibly awkward state of affairs. I can hardly stand to be in the same room with that courtesan, let alone live with her. Until recently, so few words have we exchanged. I did not even know her name until the 3rd week of her living here. My husband made me agree to go along with the fiction that the child is actually mine, which, well, I've yet to give him one myself. So if that is how I am to make up for it, then that is what I'll do. I thought it was going to be so hard to keep up that pretense, to pretend that this child is my own, while the real mother lives under the same roof. Yet, apparently not. As it turns out, the whole charade, fail grammar. The whole charade has been for absolutely nothing. After all that, the child turned out to be a girl. Of course, I'm sure Jangmi is quite happy, since she's already been bought out, in the hopes that we could pretend her son was mine. But an illegitimate daughter? Well, who cares? It would almost be funny, if not for the fact that it means I will have to live with that constant reminder of how little my husband cares for me. Almost, but not really. So much like early Chinese culture, where female births were looked down upon, it doesn't seem to be that impressive, or no one even gives a little bit of a care to the birth of a female child in the Magungwa society. So, High Magistrate Smith Sang-min, huh? This man is just... wow, he's a real piece of work. He just could not keep his pants on, it seems. I mean, neglecting his wife so he could get a courtesan pregnant. Wow, what kind of man does that? Please tell me you feel the same. I know, right? The idea of a woman living only for her man is awful, just awful. But there's one way to make that worse, for the man to just ignore her entirely. Can you imagine living like that? Just being kept in the women's quarters with nobody to care about you in any way. I don't think her marriage was worse than mine, but at least I had something. And didn't have to worry about scandals about to blow up in the family's face. There's one thing that's good about being the emperor's consort, I guess. So all he ever paid attention to was women who weren't his wife, and all of his assorted business. Here, I'll show you what all that is. Looking at this, it feels like he spent more time with his brothers than his wife. And with that, everyone, we are going to have to finish off the episode. Next time, we will delve into how much of a man-pig this particular dude is. Sang-min. See you then.